Okay, let's record. And if Barbara retains her power in the next couple of days, hopefully she can watch. But otherwise, hola Barbara, whenever you are able to watch, it might be a while. Okay. Ver, I need to change my little keyboard here. So I've got Spanish. Okay. Today is going to feel today is going to feel little this journey. We're going to have a lot of kind of abstract, weird things going on with our practice. Not so much with the numbers part, but with the other stuff, because we're going to have a number of things that will feel a little weird, and that is normal. Okay, and so let me explain ahead of time why it will feel kind of weird. We're going to be getting into the waters now where things start to all come together and knit together. And that is an uncomfortable feeling because there are going to be concepts that we don't have in English that you're going to start hearing and seeing. And you'll have to think about it. Your brain will have some trouble processing it. So no se preocupen, don't worry about it because it's just a thing where you need tons of exposure and need to hear tons of examples. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, Here are the concepts that are going to start to come together and weave together. We've got this thing about like all the weird verb forms. It's going to start to come together. But what's also going to start to come together is another big concept. And the big concept, verbs give English speakers a lot of difficulty. Gender gives English speakers a lot of difficulty. And if you think it's hard, congratulations, you're a normal person. Gender means masculine, feminine. And the reason this is going to come into our woven together concepts is that we're going to start to see anything in the little bubble of words that refer to a noun, a person, place, or thing. All the words that talk about that noun, that refer back to that noun, have to be like a jigsaw puzzle piece. They have to match up in the right form, meaning masculine, feminine, and the right number, being singular and plural, with that noun. So things have to start to gel together, fit together, be in the same form, be in what they call in grammar speak in agreement, uh, to knit together and make a simple sentence that makes sense. This is kind of a tough thing, so I just want you to be prepared. It'll feel funny, yes, because it will feel funny for everybody. But it gets better the more examples you see. So we're going to try to step you through the process of starting to introduce that idea of gender and things being singular or plural and those words hanging together, as well as some of these nouns that we have, or excuse me, verbs that we have. And we're going to do a lot of number practice. So those are going to be the big ideas. I hope to introduce one other thing if we get time, but well, we'll see if we have enough time. Uh, Vale, I told you, I promised we would start off with some family stuff. You might use I, there is, there are. You might use es to say somebody is. You might use se llama to say their name is. So I'm going to show you a little mix with my family members. And then if any of you have examples you want to share, it would be a good thing to practice. So we're going to open up with that today because we didn't get to talking about our family thing. I did ask you to do that before. Aquí está mi familia. Aquí tenemos mi familia. See? Here we have my family. Aquí tenemos, we have. Tenemos una foto. We have a photograph. Tenemos una foto de mi familia. Yo muy de joven. Era muy morena. I used to be very brunette. Okay. Before growing my gray hair, so just remember, this is a really long time ago. Aquí tenemos una foto de mi familia, ¿sí? En mi familia hay, in my family there are, wow, hay cuántas personas, cuántas, how many? ¿Cuántas personas hay? How many people are there? ¿Cuántas personas hay en mi familia? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16. Hay, there are, hay 16 personas en mi familia. Hay 16. Ok, vale. Ah, en mi familia hay uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. Hay 6 personas en mi familia que son de Florida. Ja, hay 6 personas en mi familia que son de Florida, are from Florida. ¿Qué? Ok, vale. Bueno, ah, aquí tenemos el abuelo. El abuelo se llama Carlos. Charlie. Mira, el abuelo se llama Carlos. La abuela se llama Mariana. Aquí, esta mujer, this woman, esta mujer es la hermana de la abuela. Es la hermana de la abuela, ¿sí? Esta persona, sí, es la hermana de la abuela, grandma's sister. Ok. Carlos y Mariana, los abuelos, ¿sí? Tienen cuatro, cuatro hijos, ¿sí? Tienen 4 hijos. Un hijo aquí se llama Kevin. Una hija aquí se llama Mara. Un hijo se llama Derek. El último hijo, the last kid, el último hijo se llama Carl. ¿Bien? Vale. Entonces, hay 4 hijos. Carlos y Mariana tienen, they have, tienen 4 hijos. ¿Sí? Vale. Y nietos, grandkids, nietos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are, hay 6 nietos, ¿sí? En la foto, in the photograph. Hay 6 nietos en la foto, ¿ok? ¿Sí? Aquí, este hombre muy alto, muy alto, very tall. Este hombre alto es el esposo de la hija de Mariana y Carlos. Esta mujer es la esposa, ¿sí? De Derek, ¿bien? ¿Sí? Y, bien, bueno, vale, ¿sí? Yo tengo 2 hijos aquí, un hijo, una hija. Mara tiene 2 hijos, un hijo aquí y una hija. Y esta mujer, la esposa de Derek, sí, Derek y Tracy, ella se llama Tracy. Ella tiene, los dos tienen 2 hijos. ¿Bien? Bueno, mi familia. Otro ejemplo. Anybody else want to share an example of how many people in their family, how many grandkids they have, how many kids they have, maybe brothers and sisters, stuff like that?
I'll try.
Bueno, sí, Andrés.
El nombre mi esposa es Anne.
Okay.
Uh, Tengo dos hijas y dos hijos.
Bien,
2 sons, 2 daughters.
bien. Una-
Tengo 10 nietos, 10 grandchildren.
Wow, wow.
Um, Soy profesor jubilado, former teacher. Más hobby es música,
Bien.
big time. I think I have a music addiction actually. Um, and me mudé aqua de say Wisconsin.
Ok,
I came
bien.
here from Wisconsin, and no me cuesta el clima frío.
El clima frío, cold
Frío.
weather.
Yeah, I dislike cold weather. I've had
Sí.
it up to my earlobes with cold weather.
Es muy común aquí. That's very
Yeah,
common here.
yeah. That's all I have
Ok, está
on
bien,
this.
está bien. So I want to notice what I want you to notice how I will tell Andrew C. Andrew, you have, tú tienes una familia grande.
Mm-hmm.
A,
Yeah.
una familia grande. Tú tienes una familia grande.
Uh,
Tienes muchos hijos. You have lots of kids.
yes. Yeah. Lots. Well, yeah. 4 kids and 10 grandkids.
Ok.
Yeah.
Y muchos nietos.
Mucho.
Muchos nietos.
Mucho.
I want you to notice something. If I just describe the number or a vague amount as a description for nietos, grandkids,
Mm-hmm.
saying a lot of grandkids, that a lot of word comes before uh, the word nietos. Tienes, you have. Tú tienes muchos nietos. Muchos nietos. Okay? But now I'm going to introduce a little thing so you can hear how the word order goes. If I
Mm-hmm.
say you have a lot of small grandchildren, meaning they're not like adults, okay? I will wind up saying many grandkids, small. Ah, the word order is going to be different. It will sound like this. Tú tienes muchos nietos pequeños, pequeños, small. Muchos nietos pequeños. En inglés se dice, in English you say, you have many small grandkids. En español no se dice así. El orden es diferente. The order is different. Tú tienes muchos nietos pequeños. You have many grandkids small. That is the way the Spanish speaking brain works. Description, a size word comes after the people's names, but amounts come in front. It's just what they do. So instead of many small grandkids, many grandkids small. That is literally the way their brains are wired to think in that order. So that's going to feel really weird, right? But
Mm-hmm.
notice muchos has an S at the end, so that because it's talking about nietos, grandkids, more than one. And then the word that talks about their size is also going to have to indicate a more than one idea. And the way that happens is that grande, or excuse me, pequeño, small, becomes pequeños. Okay? If English did that, it would sound like you have many's grandkids, littles or smalls.
Hmm.
But English doesn't say many's grandkids, smalls. Yeah, but that like is the equivalent of what's going to happen in Spanish. Para que sepan, so you know. Okay? Bien? Vale. And you can keep this as simple or as, you know, keep it simple is a good thing for right now. But okay, vale. Otro voluntario. Anybody else who wants to volunteer to tell me a little about their family? Un poquito más. ¿Alguien? Anybody? No? Okay.
I'll
Ah,
try.
bien, Kyoko, Kyoko. Go for it, Kyoko. And you know, if we make mistakes, so what? We fix it. Okay.
Um, hay tres personas en mi familia aquí.
Perfecto. Perfecto.
Mi hijo es estudiante universitaria.
Oh, nivel superior. En el colegio, high school,
I'm sorry.
en tu hijo es estudiante en el colegio, en high school,
College.
o universidad.
University.
Oh, en la universidad. Muy bien, muy bien. Continúa. Keep going.
Ah, mi madre, no, mi madre y mi hermano están en Japón.
Perfecto. Muy bien, muy bien.
Am, mi hermano tiene un hijo y una hija.
Y una hija. Muy bien, Kyoko.
That's it.
Impresionante. That was impressive. Sí, bien. Okay. Y fíjense, notice, and Kyoko did some very hard things here. I want you guys to know she did some very hard things, and she did them well. Okay. Mi hermano está en Japón. My brother is in Japan. Location, so está. Perfecto. Mi madre está en Japón. Perfecto. Muy bien. Bien hecho. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to show you how that sounds with my example so you can hear another example and correlate and help this gel a little bit more. Ah, and I can't call him an hermano, Derek. Es mi cuñado. He's my brother-in-law. That's another family word, a lot harder family word. So let me make it easier. Let's use the hermano. Uh, Derek es el hermano de Kevin, ¿sí? Kevin es mi esposo. Kevin, aquí a la izquierda, the guy way on the left, ¿sí? Es mi esposo. Kevin tiene un hermano que se llama Derek. His name is Derek. ¿Sí? El hermano de Kevin vive en Florida. Kevin también tiene dos hermanos. El hermano de Kevin que se llama Carl, ¿sí? El hombre sentado, the guy who's seated, ¿sí? Ah, el hermano de o otro hermano, another brother. Notice otro just says other, doesn't describe what he looks like, so it's otro in front of the word hermano. Otro hermano está en Michigan. Está en Michigan, muy en el norte. Mal clima, bad weather. Mal clima en diciembre. Mal clima en enero, bad weather in January. Mal clima en febrero. Muy buen clima en junio. Muy buen clima en julio. ¿Ok? July, June, nice weather. ¿Sí? Vale, bueno, la hermana de Kevin está en Chicago. Está en Chicago. ¿Bien? She's in Chicago, where she's located. ¿Sí? Excelente. Ok, a ver, muy bien. Okay, muchos ejemplos, lots of examples, because it helps to solidify what you know.
Mhm.
It takes at least 50 repetitions for the average person to pick up how that vocabulary and word order works till it starts to feel natural. That's a lot of repetitions. Okay, otro ejemplo. Anybody else want to talk about family members? How many? Where they're from. Es de is from. Or están en, they are in. Either way. Anybody else? ¿Alguien más? ¿No? ¿Nada? Ok, bien. Ah, vale. Voy a darles unos ejemplos más. I'm going to give you just a few more examples with my family photo, just so that you hear a few more before we move on to our numbers stuff. Okay. En esta familia grande, la familia que tiene, the family that has, la familia que tiene 17, ay, no sé, personas, ¿sí? Ah, mis hijos, mis dos hijos, ¿sí? Están en Arizona, ¿sí? Ah, tengo dos sobrinos. El sobrino se llama Patricio. La sobrina, niece, se llama Catalina, ¿sí? Ah, Patrick, está en Chicago. La hija ella está en Filadelfia, en Pennsylvania, ¿sí? Ella es de Chicago. She's from Chicago. Ella es de Chicago. Pero, ahora, right now, ¿sí? Está en Philadelphia, ¿sí? So notice the difference. Es de Chicago. She's from Chicago. That's where she was born. Pero está en Philadelphia. She's in Philadelphia right now, where she's located. ¿Bien? ¿Sí? Y aquí tengo dos sobrinos. I've got two nephews and nieces. Sí, la sobrina que se llama Ana. Ana es maestra. Ella es maestra de español. Es maestra de español y está en Florida. Está en Florida, ¿sí? Y el sobrino, ¿sí? Aquí está en Florida, pero está en el este de Florida. He's in the east. En el este de Florida. Bien. Ah, amazing how this person is now a teacher, ¿sí? Este aquí es ingeniero de software. Oh, no, ingeniero, perdón. Ingeniero, no sé de qué. He is an engineer. I don't know exactly what he does. Es ingeniero y está en Florida, pero está en el está en el este de Florida. ¿Bien? Vale. Bueno, muy bien. A ver. Okay, so familia, we're going to leave that for a little bit. We're going to shift into some numbers practice. And numbers practice, we're going to stay at the 100 and below level. ¿Sí? Bien. We're going to stay at the 100 and below level for right now. We're going to review a little bit what our numbers look like. Let me pop it up on the screen. And then pretty soon, we're going to do a very easy dictado. So you'll need soon something to write with and any old scrap of paper. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or anything you're going to keep, just something to scribble on to see how many numbers you can hear and can identify from hearing them. Okay. Pero vamos a repasar. Before we do a dictado, we're going to review what these sound like. And we'll do a little practice on just counting up some items from what you see on the screen first. Okay. Vale, ¿sí? Bueno, a ver. And of course, we're going to look at our easy numbers first, ¿sí? Cero, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, and you have to smile at the end of nueve, right? Don't turn nueve into the word nuevo. If there's an o at the end of that word, an o instead of an e, if it gets an o, then it means the word new, like brand new. Yeah. So cuidado, careful, because nueve is a whole different word than nuevo, right? Nueve is nine. Nuevo with an o is new. Okay. Nueve, diez. And here, the 1 through 10s are the ones that get recycled and repeated as you move to higher numbers. So you will reuse, that is, recycle, the 1 through 9 numbers when you start counting to higher numbers. See? One of the hard things for our brains to do is to be able to identify these 1 through 9 numbers out of sequence. Yeah. We get used to uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez, but doing them out of order, yeah, is harder. So just be prepared for that. So that's why we're going to do a dictado, a dictation a little bit later. Okay, vale. Bueno, adelante. Repasar. Vamos a repasar. We've got 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, right? And then it becomes like the math problem, 10 and 6, 10 and 7, 10 and 8, 10 and 9. So it's 16. Here comes our 6 number back again, recycled. 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, and then we get to a whole new level or category of the numbers that are in the 20s. And the 20s will all start with 20. 20, think of a vein in your arm. 20. So counting up from that, we get 21, 22, 23. We're going through recycling the 1 through 9, right? 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Then we get to the new level. The new level is the 30s. And there we get 30. It sounds a little bit like tres. It starts with the same starting sound as tres, but it gets lengthened out into, like we say, 30, T at the end. It gets enta, right? Treinta, treinta, right? With treinta, if you were to spell them out as words, and when people speak, of course, yeah. They think in digits. You should be thinking in digits as well, not words here. But it strings out into 3 words. 31, 32. Here comes our recycling. 33, 34, 35. You get the idea, right? ¿Sí? Adelante. Bien. Okay, vale. And our next steps up will be the 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, right? Up to 100. So we get 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then up to 100. And 100 has to be an even number, 100, right? If I add anything on to 100, anything, even if it's only one, right? Then it goes to a longer word. And the longer word means we take 100 and we put a to on the end. That's all. Ciento, right? So, 101, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 110, 110, 120, 120, 130, 130. Así, like that, right? Ciento. So it'll only be the shorty of cut off the toe from the end, 100, if it's 100 even. Okay? Bien? Vale. Okay. The two that are hard in here, I'm just going to point out, hard for listening, hard for distinguishing, are these two. That is because there's only one letter that is different between se, senta, 60, and se, tenda, 70. Yeah. 60 has an S in the middle, and you have to listen for it because people talk fast. 60, 60, right? So listen for that coming back, 60. And 70 will have a T come in, and that T comes in because siete, 7, one digit, 7 has a T, and therefore 70 also has a T in the middle. 70, 70. You have to listen for the 70. Do know that in Spanish, when you hear the word 70, it will sound like that, 70. It will not sound like what English would do. English would do setenta. You hear how the t in English is much harder? T. If you put your hand in front of your face and you say 50, 60, t, 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 t. In English, the T sound produces a little puff of air. In Spanish, that puff of air doesn't happen. So the T sounds kind of muffled, you know? So be prepared that hearing that difference between 60 and 70 is kind of hard because that T is a little soft pedal. It produces a more muffled sound. It's still a T, but it's kind of a muffled T. Okay? Bien? Vale. Okay. Let's count some easier lower amounts. Ah, vamos a contar. Let's count. We're going to say there are number candies. Then we are going to insert the number and bombones. Bombones are just candies, goodies. Okay? Boom, 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 bombones. ¿Cuántos? How many? ¿Cuántos bombones hay? How many candies are there? ¿Cuántos bombones hay?
16.
16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Sí, 16. So we're going to insert our 16 after that verb hay. Hay 16. Hay 16 bombones.
Hay 16 bombones.
Hay 16 bombones. Perfecto. Hay 16 bombones. ¿Cuántas? How many? ¿Cuántas galletas? Cookies. Galletas. ¿Cuántas galletas hay? How many cookies are there? ¿Cuántas galletas hay? When we answer that, we're going to answer with I, there are. We're going to plug in the number and then we'll plug in the word that means cookies. Hay, boom. Ooh, ¿cuántas galletas hay?
12,
Dice,
ve-
derecho,
20,
18.
18.
18. Hay
18.
18
4,
pelotas.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
18.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
10.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, momento. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, you get how many is it in English? So it's
20, right?
In the cookies now we're talking
cookies,
about?
galletas, sí.
Ah, cookies.
So,
Dienta.
20.
20, 20, right? 1, 2, 3, 4,
20.
5, 6,
20.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Hay 20. Hay 20 galletas. Hay
Pelotas.
20
Hay 20
galletas.
20
galletas.
Think of the vein in your arm. Hay 20 galletas.
Galletas.
Hay 20
Hay
Galletas.
galletas.
20 galletas.
Galletas.
Okay.
Hay 20
No
galletas.
hay, there aren't. No hay 10 galletas. No hay 10 galletas. Hay 20
20.
galletas. ¿Sí? Bien. Okay. Another group of items. See? Pelotas are little
Pelotas.
balls. These are little like ping pong balls. See? Pelotas. Pelotas. ¿Cuántas? How many? ¿Cuántas pelotas hay? How many balls are there? ¿Cuántas pelotas hay?
18.
18.
18. 18.
18. Now we're going to plug in the verb I with our number. I
Hay
Hay 18
18
pelotas.
pelotas. The
Pelotas.
item, the thing at the end. Hay 18 pelotas. Perfecto. Perfecto. ¿Ok? No hay 8 pelotas. No hay 8 pelotas. Hay 10 y 8 pelotas. ¿Bien? Vale. Bueno, perfecto. Ok. Adornos. Ornaments. Like on a Christmas tree. ¿Sí? ¿Cuántos adornos hay? There you see it printed out. How many ornaments are there? There's the question. ¿Cuántos adornos hay? But when we
11.
answer, we're going to have I and we're going to plug in the number. I,
Hay
Hay
11.
Adornos.
11.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. Hay
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 11
11
adornos.
adornos.
hornos.
adornos.
¿Cuántos?
Hay 11 adornos. Hay 11 adornos, ¿sí? No hay 5 adornos. No, no. No hay. There aren't. No hay 5 adornos. Hay 11 adornos. Hay 11 adornos, ¿sí? Bien, perfecto. Here you have the question printed out. ¿Cuántas? How many? ¿Cuántas naranjas hay? How many oranges are there? ¿Cuántas naranjas hay? ¿Cuántas naranjas hay? Vamos a contar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. ¿Cuántas naranjas hay?
Hay
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 15
15
naranjas.
naranjas.
15
Hay
naranjas.
15 naranjas. See?
Naranjas.
Okay. And notice I, just like you have in that video, we can combine numbers with I to tell how many things there are because I is used to just say something exists. It just exists. I'm not telling where it's located. I'm not talking about their size or how much they cost or what color they are, just that they're out there. Yeah. Hay 15 naranjas. Okay. Globos, balloons, globos, 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 globos. Okay. ¿Cuántos globos hay? How many balloons are there? ¿Cuántos globos hay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. ¿Cuántos globos hay? How do we answer that? Hay
Hay 18
18 globos.
Hay 18 globos. Hay 18 globos. No hay, there aren't. No hay 6 globos. No hay 10 globos. Hay 18 globos. ¿Bien? ¿Ok? ¿Vale? Ok. One thing I want you to notice, here's your first time you're hearing and seeing it. Words that talk about a noun go into the same form as the noun they're talking about. How many, the word for how many is talking about ornaments, which happens to be a masculine and plural word. So it's cuantos, masculine and plural. Adornos, masculine, plural. Yeah. Cuantos has to look at and be in a matching form to the word it's talking about. The how many word is talking about adornos. So it has to make nice with, be in the same form, masculine, feminine, singular, plural, as the adornos word it's talking about. So that cuantos is a masculine and a plural word because adornos is masculine and plural. But notice how we have a change here. With cuántas naranjas hay, naranja, because it ends in an a, which means it's a feminine word, the how many word is talking about naranjas, oranges. So it has to match up with a feminine and plural word. Cuántas, a feminine word, and a plural word, cuántas naranjas. So just notice that. Notice that. Okay. Bien. Vale. Let's take a quick look. Or maybe not so quick. Maybe a long look. You had a nice cheat sheet chart up there. Yeah. See? Bien. Let's see. Momento. Let's see. Now we're looking at some numbers out of order. So we're getting ready for a dictado. We're getting ready for a quick dictation. Yeah. Numbers out of order, different order. See? And they give us the first one here, 28. 28. 28. ¿Cómo se dice 15?
15.
15. These are out of order. Yeah. 32. Ooh.
32.
32.
Y 32. 32. Perfecto. Muy bien. ¿Cómo se dice 11?
11.
11. Bien. ¿Cómo se dice 8?
Ocho.
Ocho.
Ocho. Ocho is the one that people almost always get right because because English part of your brain might say, oh, I know a word like octopus or octet or octagon. And ocho sounds like that fits nicely. Okay, so ocho works great. ¿Cómo se dice? How do you say? ¿Cómo se dice? 26.
26.
26. 26. ¿Cómo se dice? 13.
13.
13.
13. Muy bien. 13. 13. ¿Cómo se dice? 30.
30.
30. Bien. ¿Cómo se dice? 20.
20.
20. Think of a vein in your arm. 20. 20. 20. ¿Cómo se dice? 14.
14.
14. High school kids, when they learned this, used to tell me, oh, señora, that's the long one. It's the long word, 14, because it was longer than 11. 14. Okay. ¿Cómo se dice? 16.
16.
16. 16. ¿Cómo se dice 5?
5.
5. Most people have an easy time with the word cinco. Cinco. I don't know why our English brains have an easy time with it, but they do. Okay. 29.
29.
Nuevo.
29. 29. 29. ¿Cómo se dice 37?
37.
Y 7. 37. 37. Okay. Bien, bien, perfecto. Okay. We're not going to go on to these harder ones yet. Okay. We're not going to do like the math problem thing yet at this point. Uh, we are we are going to do an easy dictado. So grab something to write with, and it's going to be easy because it's going to stay with those lower numbers. And this is recognition, okay? When you walk into a market and you have to buy something and you see a price tag, or you hear, you ask, ¿cuánto es? How much is it? ¿Cuánto es? ¿Cuánto es? How much is it? The guy's going to say a number back at you, and he's going to say it fast. And you might say, despacio, por favor, slow, please. And you'll still feel like he's saying it fast. But what we want to do is encourage you so that your listening skill always comes first. Your ability to hear a number and have the digit pop into your brain. That's important. That's why we're doing the dictado. That's why we're doing this. Because listening comprehension is the one thing you want to get down first. Okay? You don't need to tell people prices. They are going to tell you prices and addresses and how many blocks you have to walk. So you want to recognize the number. I'm going to say a number 3 times. You write down the digit. Don't write the word out. Write down the digit that you hear, right? Because that's what should be popping into your head. So, first number, okay? Cinco. Cinco. Last time. Cinco. Siguiente, next number. 10. 10. 10. Siguiente, next number. 18. 18. 18. Bien. Next number. 4. 4. 4. Siguiente, next number. 7. 7. 7. Next number. Siguiente. 13. 13. 13. Bueno, siguiente. Next number. 11. 11. 11. Siguiente. Next number. 20. 20. 20. Dos más, two more. 14. 14. 14. El último, last number. 15. 15. 15. Okay, I'm going to show you the numbers. Your goal is to have 7 out of 10 digits correct. That's our goal. Bien, take a look. 5, 10, 18, 4, 7, 13, 11, 20, 14, 15. Bien? If you got 6 out of 10, still pretty good for first time out. Okay? If you got 7 or more, bien. Okay. Muy bien, Kyoko. If you got less than that, don't lose heart. This is a hard thing, but it's a skill you need to develop. I have to check. There's a site that does a little dictado. I don't know how random or how high the numbers go, because if it gets to really high numbers, it might be hard for you. I have to review whether it's one I can send you right now or not. Okay, so there's our first dictado, our first one. Bien? Okay. A ver. Let me take that off the screen for now. We're going to take a look at our second homework paper that worked on some harder numbers. I'll give you another dictado next week, like the one you just took, with a slightly harder set of numbers, very slightly harder. We're not going to get into like huge, big numbers, yeah, but slightly harder. Bien. Perdón, momento. We're going to take a look at the second chart and set of numbers with over 30, numbers over 30 going up to 100. Okay. Yeah. We're going to take a look at these and we're going to see if you can say these numbers. They're not in order. And they give us the first one as an example. 47. That little E is a word. It means and, right? Y means and. So, 47. ¿Cómo se dice 76?
76.
70
Y 6.
76.
76. 76. It gets a T in the middle. 70. Bien, ok. ¿Cómo se dice 92?
92.
Y dos. Bien. 90, 92. 92. And notice 9 gets a UE, but that UE condenses down into a smaller vowel. No for the 90. 90. Right? And I think the reason it's, you know what, I'm guessing, but I think it's because nueve, ue, is harder to pronounce. When you make a longer number, you got to shorten that vowel sound and make it a shorter sound, 90. So it shortens down to an O when it gets to 90, 90. Okay, 48. ¿Cómo se dice 48?
48.
48.
48, 48. Bien. ¿Cómo se dice 55?
55.
Y
55.
5, 55, 55, 55. Bien. ¿Cómo se dice 81?
81.
81.
81, 81, 81, 81. ¿Cómo se dice 54?
54.
54.
4.
54, 54, 54, 54. Bien. ¿Cómo se dice 69?
69.
Nuevo.
Y 9. We want to make sure we
Nueve.
smile. 9. ¿Ya?
Nueve.
9. 69. 69. 69. Bien. ¿Cómo se dice 44?
44.
44.
44. 44. 44. Bien. ¿Cómo se dice 93?
93.
Tres.
93, 93, 93. ¿Cómo se dice 88?
88.
88, 88, 88. Bien, vale, bueno, 88. ¿Cómo se dice 41?
41.
Y uno.
41, 41, 41. Muy bien. ¿Cómo se dice 67?
67.
Y 7, 60. We want to make sure the S sound repeats. 60 y 7. Bien. ¿Cómo se dice 73?
73.
73, 73, 73. Next week, we're going to do a dictado that's going to have more of the double digit numbers in it, higher numbers, okay? And it's going to be hard hearing the difference between 60 and 70. So be aware of that. I will show you how the higher I will give you a homework video on the higher hundreds numbers, just you go up to 1,000. You don't really need to know to go above 1,000, not really. Okay, so you'll watch most of the video. It's going to have some harder things in there that you won't really need, but okay. And we'll do some more practice with that next week. Bien, perfecto. Perfecto. Adelante. Moving on. Okay, we want to take our next batch of time to talk a little bit about gender. Ugh, this is a very abstract, hard to think about concept, which English does very seldom, and English is kind of eliminating. You used to speak about people who are actors in the movies. It used to be when I was a kid, it was kind of a strict thing. A lady who was an actor was called an actress. That was one of the few examples of true gender in English. Now they call everybody an actor. Yeah. And that word actress is kind of, you still hear it, but you don't hear it as often as you used to, right? That generic word actor is used more uniformly, no matter what the sex of the person is. But English has very little to do with gender. And many, many languages, French and Italian and Spanish and German, and wow, German's even worse because they've got 3 genders, not 2. Spanish has 2 genders, masculine and feminine, but it's for everything. So it doesn't talk just about people and animals, gender. It talks about all things that are nouns. All things that are nouns are people, places, or things. Yeah. So if I talk about a sheet of paper, it's a masculine word. Why? I don't know. It just is. Yeah, but it's el papel, paper. It is. Yeah. And so all things, not just people. It's easy. El hombre, the man. La mujer, the woman. Okay, female, la mujer, male, el hombre. But even things have gender. So, el libro, book, is a masculine word. It just is. Uh, ah, la crema, cream. Yeah, a lotion for my hands. La crema, it's a feminine word. It just is. So, okay, ouch. Now I've got an extra layer of complex ideas. So all things that talk about the la crema, the cream, all the words that will refer to a cream will have to be in a feminine form because that's what this is. Okay. All words that refer back to el libro, the book, have to be in a masculine form because they're talking about a masculine thing. This is a level of complexity we do not have in English, but it's something you have to get used to in Spanish, all right? So already with the word for the, you get masculine words and feminine words. El is the for masculine. La is the for feminine, right? If you're using, and those are called definite articles because the is definite. If you say, ¿Dónde está el libro? Where is the book? I'm talking about a specific book. ¿Dónde está el libro? Where is the book? I'm looking for something specific. That's why it's it's a definite article. But if I just want any old book, I have to stand on a bunch of books. I have to stick a book under a chair to even it out. And I don't care which book you get me, just get me a book. It becomes un libro, a book, meaning I don't really particularly care which one, right? El libro is a definite book, the book, but un libro is a book. But that word un has to be masculine for libro, right? It's a for crema, una crema or la crema. Un libro, el libro. Bien. So we're going to take a look at a video that's going to kind of explain that a little bit because we have to look at the noun side of it first. Okay, bien. I'm going to turn on my sound, play this for you, and you'll get the link for this video so you can replay it. Okay. Sometimes in Spanish, there are cues or clues. The very last letter of a word may tell you if it's masculine or feminine, but it may not. So sometimes we have help with that. Sometimes we don't. Perdón, excuse me, I did not turn in my sound element. Doesn't do me any good if I don't have sound for you. Okay, bien. So we're going to show you how these words start to knit together in the same form.
¿Qué tal? Today in lesson number 2, I'll be teaching Cody and you how words in Spanish can be masculine or feminine and how to tell the difference. Let's get started. Any word that denotes an animal, a person, or a thing is a noun, and in Spanish, nouns can be masculine or feminine. Now, there's a general rule that works most of the times, and this is, if a noun finishes in O, it will be masculine.
There's a very general rule, and you don't have to write it down because I'm going to send you a chart thing. Okay, so don't take notes now. Just kind of be a sponge and absorb. In general, nouns that end in O are masculine. In general, be aware there are some words that break that rule. So it's not a hard and fast 100% rule. Okay. Okay. And one word that breaks the rule is the word for this part of my body. Mano ends in O, the word for hand. Mano. But it breaks the rule. It's la mano, and you just have to know that. But most words, like if I made a big pie chart, like 80% of the words that end in o are masculine. That's a pretty high percentage. So most nouns that end in o, nouns, people, places, things, nouns that end in o are usually masculine.
But if a noun finishes in a, it will be feminine.
Most nouns that end in a are feminine. Most. Not 100%. There are words that break the rule. Like, por ejemplo, the word for day. Día ends in an a. You would think it's la día, but it's not. It's el día. El día is an exception to the rule. But the rule is like 80% of the words that end in a that are nouns, like la crema, right, will be feminine. So most, but not all nouns that end in a are feminine. Okay.
Now this works only most of the time, because what happens with the words that don't finish in O or A? Can you predict if the words I'm gonna show you are masculine or feminine?
Not all nouns end in the letter O or the letter A. So there, you just have to know, and it comes from experience. You can try to memorize them all. Well, good luck with that. That's overwhelming. You'll just have to take it as it comes and get used to it. Okay.
Let's see if Cody can.
Llave.
No, masculine. Masculine.
La
llave. Key, the word for key, llave, doesn't end in an O, doesn't end in an A, but it's a feminine word. You just have to know. La llave. That's a word you would need to know at a hotel where you get a key. Yeah. La llave. La llave, the key. If I make it into a key, meaning any old key, I don't care which one, it's una llave. Una llave versus the key. La llave.
llave.
Reloj.
Masculine.
El reloj.
El reloj. That's your watch. El reloj. Reloj ends in a J, a J. Well, that's not an O, it's not an A. You just have to know it's masculine, but you get that with time. Here's a new word, leche, leche, which means milk.
This one is feminine.
Yes.
La leche.
La leche. La leche. Milk happens to be a feminine word. La leche. La leche. You would never say a milk, so technically there is una leche, but nobody would say that. It's la leche. La leche. Paraguas. Paraguas is an umbrella. Paraguas ends in an S. Shoot, that's not the O-A rule. Well,
This one is feminine.
no.
El paraguas.
El paraguas. Umbrella is masculine. It just happens to be that way, but you can't tell from the letter at the end. El paraguas, okay? So el paraguas, umbrella.
So my suggestion is, whenever you learn a new noun in Spanish, learn what's the article that goes with it.
Okay, so when you learn new words that are nouns, new vocabulary, kind of already start to connect the word with it, right? El, the, or la, the. Like la taza. La taza. Learn the word la, associate it with taza. Ooh, taza ends in an a. And yes, it's feminine. La taza. La taza, right? I have a microphone in front of my mouth here. See? Microphone. El micrófono. El micrófono. Oh. Ends in an O. El micrófono. It's masculine. El micrófono. La taza. Right? But the liquid inside la taza, el café. El café. So as you go along reading words in your book, notice if the noun is accompanied by el or la. Get used to it. Look at the last letter of the word. Sometimes it'll follow that o masculine rule and a masculine or feminine rule sometimes. And sometimes you won't be able to tell by the last letter of the
So
word.
you already know if it's masculine or feminine. Remember, there's not a way to predict if the words are masculine or feminine in
There's not a way to predict.
Spanish. Remember, there are a lot of exceptions. Feminine nouns will use the article la or una.
So feminine articles use the definite, the word la, or the indefinite, una word. A is called an indefinite article. It means any old one, right? La is a definite article. The, meaning it's indicating a specific thing. La, feminine. Una, feminine.
And they can end in a, tad, tud, dad, sion, or sion.
So those endings she showed you, words that have those endings on them tend to be feminine words. And I'll send you what those look like on a great big page to help you, okay? Like a is a predictor that nouns ending in a are feminine. Certain other word combinations, letter combinations also indicate feminine. Tad, T-A-D, is one. Sion is another one, okay?
Here's some examples. La cama, la amistad,
Feminine,
la actitud,
feminine,
la ciudad,
feminine,
la decisión,
feminine.
la canción.
Feminine.
Masculine nouns will
So some of these words are predictable, and I've got a sheet of paper I will send to you as a file. You can take a look at it. Don't feel like you must memorize it. Some parts of it may be easy to memorize, but as you go along, you'll start to recognize how these patterns connect. It takes time.
use the article el or un.
So here are the masculine articles. Articles are words that come in front of a noun. A definite article means the, and masculine the is el. Masculine indefinite, masculine a is the word un. It's kind of like uno. Uno minus the o at the end. Uno that's cut short. Un. El, the, un, a.
And they can end in o or any other consonant.
So, o at the end of a noun usually means signals masculine, and lots of consonants, right? L, just lots of consonants will indicate masculine, but not 100% of the time. It's
Here's some examples.
Not definite.
El libro,
el libro,
el camión,
el camión,
el amor,
el amor,
el árbol.
el árbol.
El and la simply mean the, like in the car. And un or una simply mean a, like in a car. So whenever you hear el amigo or la casa, you'll know it's simply the friend or the house. Same thing if you hear un amigo or una casa, you'll know it's simply a friend or a house.
So now one thing you have to be prepared for is that the Spanish language uses the word el or la a lot more than English does. I'll give you an example. If I say, I like coffee. I like coffee. That means coffee is a category of foods, yeah? And English says, I like coffee. But Just coffee, not the coffee. I like the coffee. I like the coffee might mean a specific cup, you know. I like the coffee at Starbucks more than the coffee at Dutch Brothers. Okay. But usually, if we're talking about a whole category, it's I like coffee. But in Spanish, they do say I like the coffee. Me gusta el café. Me gusta el café. They will never say just me gusta, I like café. It is me gusta el café. So you'll hear these articles of el or la a lot more associated with things, objects, or people. Okay. A ver.
Can I ask a question?
Sí.
I think I heard you say, is el and un interchangeable? In other words,
Are they
you pick one or the
interchangeable?
ones, or key,
They're
either
both
pick one or the other.
masculine. El
Right.
and un are both masculine.
Right. But are they interchangeable in a Spanish sense?
Not always. Just like the and are not necessarily interchangeable. If I say, get me the pen, you know that we mean something kind of specific.
Mhm.
Get me a pen could mean anything in the group. Conceptually, they're not necessarily interchangeable, right? Get me a pen indicates I don't care which one, right? Grab
Right.
something. Yeah. Ah, get me the pen and I point. It means I'm looking for a specific type.
Mhm.
The idea of the indicates a specific one. The idea of a indicates anything out of a bunch. Yeah. So conceptually, they're a little different. Yeah. Now,
Okay.
there are plurals for those too. So here's something else to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that the plural for el is los. The plural for la is las. The plural for un is unos. We take the word uno, one, and we put an S on the end, unos. The plural for una is unas. Yeah. So not only do they have gender, they have number, meaning onesies or more than one. Onesies, more than one. It would be like in English saying those cars. Nobody says those cars, but essentially that's what you're doing in Spanish. Los carros. Yeah. It would be like la pluma, pen. Pen happens to be a feminine word. La pluma. If I have a bunch of them, it becomes las plumas. But nobody in English would say those pens. Yeah. But in Spanish, you do. Even the word for the has to look at, I've got more than one pen, and it becomes las plumas, more than one. That's going to happen. That's uncomfortable. For us in English, it's uncomfortable. Welcome to the club. I'm going to let her finish the video here.
Are you ready to practice with us? Let's see if Cody gets this right when I ask him if the words are masculine or feminine and to tell me the right article.
Ends in a no. Perro, doggy.
Perro. El perro.
Yes.
El perro.
Árbol, tree. Words that end in L are usually masculine. Kind of a general rule.
Árbol. El árbol.
El árbol.
Corbata ends in A. Corbata is a tie that a man wears.
Corbata. La corbata.
La corbata.
Actividad. El actividad.
Dad, a dad ending is always going to be feminine. Blanket rule, 100% of the time.
Actividad. No, 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 no. La actividad.
La
La
actividad.
actividad.
Multitud, a crowd. Tad and tud are always feminine. Blanket rule.
Multitudad. Multidad. Multitude. Multitude. La multitud.
La multitud.
And notice he gets a lot wrong and he just keeps going because that's what we have to do. Yeah, you get it wrong, you keep going, keep guessing till you get it right. La multitud.
If you want to know more about masculine and feminine nouns,
Okay, and if you want to know more, I will tell you you're going to get this. I will send you this via email. This gives you some of those rules that help. Some things that tell you this is masculine noun, and some things that tell you this is a feminine noun. Okay. There are lots and lots of exceptions, just so you know. So never stress out about exceptions, right? Some exceptions that are good to know are listed down here. Okay. And you'll get this whole thing. You can save it onto your computer. It's a set of notes. And I give you some examples, and we'll check that out more next week. But the core that you need to start to get comfortable with is that things, objects have gender. They just do. Okay? Bien. Now we're going to extend it. We're going to extend this into the whole family of any words that talk about a noun. We started out with the el or la, los or las, meaning the, and the una, or unos, unas, a or some. Those words also talk about a noun. So el, la, los, las have to look at the noun they talk about and go into the right form. Un, una, unos, unas. They have to look at the noun they talk about and go into the right form. But we're going to extend it into a noun phrase. Descriptive words. A descriptive word is called an adjective. Descriptive words look back at the noun and go into the same form as the noun. We're going to introduce this to you by bringing in the idea of colors. And I'm going to give you the link to this, but we're going to watch it together. And here's what I want you to pay attention to. And I want you to watch this video like 3 or 4 times this week. No joke. Colors are a real baseline, easy concept to say, oh, colors describe a noun. And I want you to watch how visually this particular person classifies the color words according to gender and number. Gender and number. And by the way, besides colors, all adjectives will start to follow these same patterns that you see with the colors. So adjectives that say things like fat or skinny, big or little, tall or short will start to follow the same rules you're going to see with the color rules. That just means let's practice. Los colores, and notice color is a masculine word. Los colores, the colors. Some colors would be unos colores, but this is the colors, meaning that whole category of words. Los colores. Azul, Azul, you see what that means? What color it means. It ends in an L. Verde, green, ends in an E. Marrón, there is one word for brown. Little quick caveat. There are many words for brown. And which words people like to use for brown depends on what region they live in. Don't stress over it. But here's one word for brown. Marrón. 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 It ends in an N. Anaranjado ends in an O. It's going to easily morph between masculine and feminine. That O at the end, anaranjado, can become a feminine form. Anaranjada. Watch for that. Amarillo, yellow, ends in an O. So if I want to change it into a feminine form to match a feminine thing, I can change it into amarilla. I can change amarillo into amarilla. Rojo, rojo, red, ends in an O. If I want to describe a feminine thing as red, I can change rojo into roja. But they'll have to look at the thing they're talking about to go into the right form. Okay, we're going to have more. Rosado. Rosado, pink, ends in an O. It's going to be like anaranjado, like amarillo, like rojo. It can become rosada instead of rosado. It's possible. Morado, purple. Morado is going to follow the pattern of the things that end in O. It can slip or switch into an A at the end form. Morada, to talk about a feminine thing. Negro. Negro can change into the word negra to be a feminine word for black. Gris. Gris. Now I've got gris, something ending in S. Gris won't obey the same rules as negro, morado, rosado, amarillo, rojo, anaranjado. It will follow a different rule. Gris will go into the same category as marrón, as verde, as azul. And I think she's got one more. Blanco. Blanco ends in an O. Yay. Blanco is going to act like rosado, morado, negro, rojo, amarillo, anaranjado. Blanco can cut off the O from the end and switch into a feminine form. Blanca. 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 White. Oh, and I think that's the end on that. Is that the end? Yeah, it is the end. Okay, so let me show you what I want you to notice. Oh, because I'm already over my time. I want you to notice something. Colors, all adjectives will follow the patterns you're going to see when you watch the rest of this video on colors. And we'll watch just a little bit more before we end. Colors, and therefore any adjective, any describing word that ends in an O, we'll just cut the O off and change it into an A to make it a feminine adjective. That's what it will do. Okay? And if I want to make it plural, I just slap on an S. Yay. Okay? So, we have a lot of white cars in Arizona, yeah? Lots of people own white cars. Los carros blancos. Los carros blancos. Those cars whites. English doesn't do that. Those cars whites. Spanish does do that. Los carros blancos. That's what's going to happen, right? If I've got 5 black pens in my hand, las plumas negras. Las plumas negras. Yeah? So, okay, if I have this nice rule with adjectives that end in o, what happens if it doesn't end in o? Well, here's the nice handy dandy thing I want you to notice when you watch the rest of this video. Adjectives that don't end in o, like azul, like verde, like marrón.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Is that
sí.
your screen freezing for a while?
Oh, let me see. Oh, it paused. Hang on. Gracias. Thank you for telling me that. Let me plug that back in. Here we go. See? Bien. Adjectives that don't end in o, they'll use the same form for masculine and feminine. I don't have to change it. Azul is both the feminine and masculine form. Verde is both the masculine and the feminine form. I don't have to change the word verde. Marrón will be the same for masculine and feminine form. Yay. Gris, gray, will be the same for masculine and feminine form. So adjectives describing words, right, that don't end in an o, I can use the same thing for masculine and feminine. Yay. Only thing I got to worry about is plural, more than one. So if the word ends in an e, to make it plural, slap on an s. Verde, verdes, with an s at the end. That's it. If the word doesn't end in an e, if it ends in a consonant like L, N, S, I make it plural by slapping on an ES. ES. Azules, marrones, grises. That's what's going to happen. So when you play the rest of the video, notice how some words have a strictly feminine ending, like the O at the end changes to an A. Or maybe I make it also plural. O-S, A-S. You have to watch it. You're going to see a lot of examples. She's going to have tons and tons of examples, but just with color words. But keep in mind, the same principle with the color words is going to plug in, can be used with any describing word like big or little, or long or short, or tall or short. Yeah? Bien. And we'll see more of those examples next week. Todo bien? Okay? It's a
Yes.
big it's kind of scary, isn't it? It's kind of scary. It is. But watch the whole video because the way it plays out, visually, it'll start to plug a pattern in your brain. That's why this is a really great video to watch. Okay, so remember, all these things that you see are colors. They are describing words. They are not things like book, but they have to talk about a thing. Yeah? So they'll go into the form of the thing they're talking about. Okay? ¿Todo bien? All good? All good. Okay.
Bueno.
Good. And we'll step into how that plays out with lots of examples next week. Lots and lots of examples. Okay? Bien. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you a video that talks about some higher hundreds type numbers so that you can start to get used to that. Bien. And I think I'm going to add on one extra verb. It's going to be really easy verb to use, but it's a common verb. And the verb is going to be the verb to go. Because as a traveler, many times we need the verb for go. Where's the bus going? Where's the train going? I'm going to. How do you say go? You know how to say I am. Now we're going to learn how to say I go. And it's going to be an easy thing to learn. You're going to see the patterns and you'll be able to connect it with things you've already heard. ¿Sí? ¿Todo bien? All good?
Bueno,
Bien.
Todo bien. All good. Okay. Vale. Magnifico. Any questions you have? Feel free to send me questions during the week. And good. You're going to have a good chunk of things to kind of work on and ponder and look at a bunch of times this week. ¿Sí? Bien?
Bien.
Gracias. Gracias
Bien.
por participar. Thank you for
Gracias.
participating.
gracias.
Que tengan muy
Gracias. Adiós.
Así, hasta luego.